Nearly 14,000 children live with relatives in the 5-county area served by Kids Central. These relatives, many of whom are grandparents, struggle with many issues as they try to nurture the children that come into their care.
As all young people do, my daughter made some bad choices, and the resulting choice was my granddaughter got to come and live with me. She's 11 now, and she's my greatest joy, but also the opposite at times.
My brother had kept him for a while, and he was at his end with Dante and his behavior. So I took him in because I didn't want to see him in foster care.
We actually got Jessica about 6 months prior to her mom passing away. It was just an agreed upon situation. We were trying to help her mother, get a little bit of relief in caring for Jessica. And while we had Jessica, in that time period, her mom passed away, and then we subsequently got Cher Lee.
When youngsters suddenly find themselves in need of a home, it happens for many reasons.
Parents are involved with substance abuse, mental health issues, domestic violence, incarceration. We live in a big prison area, so a lot of our relative caregivers are having to care for these relative children because their children or niece or nephew or whatever the case may be is incarcerated. Those are some of the top reasons as to why relatives get involved with caring for their relative children.
And I think our program is so important because we're able to offer some support to these grandparents and other relatives who have been gracious and kind enough to take these children into their home. And I want us to do everything we can to help those folks so that they can be successful with the responsibility.
The relatives who step up to the task are often not well prepared.
I didn't think that at retirement and with my physical disabilities that I wanted. The last thing I planned on was raising a little one.
And to take Dante in, it has really changed my whole life. It has taken away from my children, I think, and it's definitely taken away from my grandchildren.
Logan is 13 now, McKenna is 7. When they first lived together in the same house with me, it was hard because it's always been Logan and I. And there's never been anybody to interfere with my attention to him. And of course now there is.
The challenges that relatives face are many. The most prevalent challenge that I feel that they face might be feelings of fear. They're fearful of the children growing up and being affected by the fact that they are not with their biological parents. They're fearful of government entities. They're fearful of school systems. They're fearful of a lot. And when they come to us, that fear is very evident.
Kids Central understands that if relative caregivers become overwhelmed, the children may have to fall back on the foster care system, a costly alternative that may also mean a loss of family connections for the vulnerable children.
After taking care of the children and seeing how much these relative caregivers have given up basically to take these children into their homes to make sure they don't go into foster care so that they keep them with their family.
No, foster care was never an option. A child belongs with their family and they need to know their roots, good, bad, or indifferent.
I don't want him to go away to foster home, never. But there are days when I feel like, oh my God, take him away.
Foster care was never an issue for me, and when the time came to actually have to step up to the plate and take her on, it was never an option.
Often, family members want desperately to keep their relative children with them, but many stressors arise as the newly formed families try to adjust.
Dante has been suspended probably 30 days this year, and this is on the semester. And a lot of days I called crying because, Melissa, you got to do something with him. I just can't take it. She would put me in touch with the next person until I'm proud to say tonight that Dante has actually calm down somewhat. It's a struggle, but Kids Central has been there.
Initially, Kids Central applied for a grant to develop support groups for relatives as parents. The program includes support groups in all 5 counties. They occur once a month and are facilitated by the Kinship program staff. Often, guest speakers come to the support groups to discuss topics that are chosen by the relatives, and free child care is provided. Perhaps most importantly, the kinship families make new friends who face many similar issues, and they find out that they are not alone.
Someone at the school gave Logan a piece of paper, and he brought it home, and it took him a while to give it to me. For what reason, I'm not sure. But as soon as I filled it out, then I think I spoke to Melissa on the phone, and I could just tell by her voice that it was someplace that I wanted to be, you know. And I couldn't make the first meeting. I think it was the second one or something. But it was the beginning of something beautiful.
It showed me that I was not alone. There were others out there who were sometimes in worse situation than I have been into.
I found one thing: I was not going through it alone. And I think that sums it up. A circle of friends.
Today, a multitude of services are available to kinship families in all 5 counties, including Sumter, Marion, Citrus, Hernando, and Lake County.
I would say the support through Kids Central is humongous for me. We try to get the right kind of therapy for Shirley. I went to them, I begged them, I offered to pay them, I offered to do whatever. I even actually, we have both the children on our own personal insurance. We do not go through the state, and because I did that, chose to do that thinking it was the better thing to do, it ended up hurting us in the long run, where we could not get the help that we needed for her. And through Kids Central, they were able to get that done for us.
Her needs, her diapers, and her expenses still had to be met, you know. And Melissa got me started with the relative care benefits. Like within 30 days of meeting Melissa, I had my first check.
The most dramatic has been with the tutoring that you have funded for my granddaughter. She was reading on a first, second grade level. Now after tutoring this summer, she's reading on the 4th grade, 5th month level. She's getting additional tutoring now at school. But now, you know, in our world, if you can't read, write, and cipher, your options are limited. But now my granddaughter again has a future, and she can be anything she wants. And currently she's going to be a marine biologist. Thank you.
Kids Central provides a support group curriculum and covers topics such as parenting the second time around. The last class is a graduation ceremony for the relative caregivers, including a certificate of completion.
I was just reaching for straws, really trying to find some direction to get him help. And once I got in touch with Kids Central, they were having classes at Lake Sumter Community College. I attended every one to try and regroup, to find out what I was doing wrong, because at some points you think it's you.
We're providing in-home services, case management services, assisting relatives with navigating systems. We provide them with free legal services if they are actively participating in our program. We have navigators in all 5 counties. We have a peer mentor, which is an actual relative caregiver that can identify with some of the struggles and challenges that relative caregivers face. We have a specialist that can intensively deal with different issues that come up with relative caregivers and make referrals to different programs. We collaborate with the community on and making them aware of this epidemic that's going on, because I think everybody can say that they know somebody that's raising a relative child and how that affects somebody's family and the dynamics of the family. So I think our agency is definitely on the cutting edge because we have seen this as an issue and we're doing something about it.
Kids Central has helped me in many, many, many levels. First of all, you've been there. I've had a problem, been there. And in the weekly meetings, they have covered everything from discipline to finances to education to children with learning disabilities and any other questions that we had in between.
Kids Central hosts an annual 2-day conference to raise awareness of kinship issues. The first day is for professionals, and the second day is for relative caregivers. We provide free child care for the relative caregivers, and sessions also help youth better understand solutions for their special issues.
I think the conference really helped Jessica. She was very nervous, but it did help her. It just gave her a little bit of control to be able to talk about what it is that she wanted to express. In her heart of hearts, she is all for this, and I guess she hears me talking about it, and she's met different people, and her heart goes out for it too. So it has impacted her in a good way.
That was awesome. Ever since that day at conference at CFCC, I've gotten where Jameen is more open about her life, and it makes me feel, great. I feel like I could go out and at least be helpful to others if there were someone I knew of who needed my help, to say, okay, this is where you could go, let's go. This is what you could do for this child. But Kids Central has been great for me and my kids.
We're very proud of our unique and highly successful Kinship Relatives as Parents program. Every day we see new families solve problems and make it through challenging times to raise their relative children successfully. This is what community-based care and Kids Central is all about.
It's an amazing program to help so many people.
And I will vouch for that answer. She tells everybody she meets about Kids Central. That's legitimately the truth.
I do.